So what kind of RPM can you turn with something like this?
Tested it up to 8,000 RPM. Do the calculations, it's good for 10.
This is insane. You know, somebody's done a repair, or let's say you got frame damage somewhere. Dang, this thing looks good. Oh, right. What is up? Finally, it's a new day here. We're about to do something that I, should have done a little bit earlier, probably like weeks earlier when I first started this thing, but that's okay. Today, we've got our buddies from Ice Blast coming by to clean up the frame, basically everything in the front end of this thing. It is incredible how much of a change happens when you have like a crusty ass old vehicle. Cleans everything off, doesn't strip paint, doesn't strip coatings or anything. It's safe for rubber. It's awesome. So what we're gonna do before we go any further on the truck, we're gonna pull the motor, we're gonna get everything kind of out, and then we're gonna have the guys come and clean everything up. Then we can move forward with assembling a few things like the new oiling system and front cover. And I could probably do for painting the frame and making it actually look good instead of kind of leaving it all shitty like I did my C10 and my K5. So let's pull this motor out. Just to tee up our audience, if they don't know what the dry ice blasting is all about, can you just give me like a quick spiel?
Yeah, so basically dry ice blasting is just like sand blasting, but instead of sand, we use ice. So dry ice is naturally non-abrasive, so if we hit like any paint, coatings or anything, it doesn't harm it. As opposed to sand, sand is like when you hit something, it just removes paint and all that stuff. So dry ice blasting is really meant for cleaning. So take out crud, oil, grime without harming the original surface.
Hell yeah. Awesome. This is insane. Look how nice and clean this is. He's pointing out right now, like, the cool thing about this is that, like, let's say if you got an older vehicle and, you know, there's usually grime and all sorts of shit covering stuff, and you don't know if, you know, somebody's done a shitty repair, or, you know, like, let's say you got frame damage somewhere, you know, this will expose that. And that's awesome. Dude, thank you so much. I mean, this wasn't, how long you been here? What, 30 minutes?
Yeah. A little less, yeah, 30 minutes.
30 minutes, like, look at that. Down to the frame. Everything's nice and clean. Hell yeah. Now, I can get back to work. Right now, I've actually got to get some parts for this thing. Made some really good progress. I just want to make sure that I have a couple spares laying around. Things like front diff, wheel hubs, kind of like little stock parts here and there that I know are going to need to be replaced anyway. So right now, hopping on eBay because honestly, this is the easiest way to do this. Got to get the front diff, and I want to get a 2500 front diff for this truck because it comes usually with a 410 gear set, and they have the ability to do electronic locking, and they kind of bolt right in if you get the right year. Luckily, eBay has their guaranteed fit program. The guaranteed fit is nice because in parts like this, you got a lot of crossover between the CK 1500 trucks, 2500 trucks, the Tahoes, all that, but there's certain years that actually don't fit for different things. Like, so it might fit the CK 1500 up to, like, let's say 97, but then 98 it changes. There's a lot of things that could be different. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy another front diff here just to make sure that we have a spare. If it doesn't fit, we could just send it back free of charge and get our money back. Okay, here's how this works. So we can go ahead and search for the car we've got now, right, which is a 1998 Tahoe. Okay, so here's what we got. Everything from, you know, basically we're gonna be trying to get this 2500 front diff here. It's got a 410 ratio, so this is all good. So, bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. 500 bucks, whole spare front diff, carrier, all that, and shipped directly to me. And then, you know what? If it doesn't fit, we'll just send it back, get all our money back. Okay, so up to this point, what we've done with this truck, we've got the whole front end off, stripped down, we've got the motor fitted, we've got it back out, because today we're actually gonna update the entire oiling system and the front runner kit, and we've got none other The Mr. Jim here that built this thing.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's going on? So this has been rad. And actually, I wouldn't have been able to fit the motor in that chassis if it weren't for, like, we had to test fit it with this oil pan, and this was the big saving grace. But it actually makes this entire awesome looking system here, which I would like you to talk about because you know it more. You're an engineer, and it looks cool. That's about what I know. I know it functions well because I've got a buddy that's running it, and his. If you wouldn't mind, Jim, I want to know your background because what makes you design something like this, and where does this come from?
My first job out of college was working for Roush up in Livonia, Michigan, where, again, surrounded by a lot of talented engine builders and machinists and mechanics. Then over time, you just build a skill set, and then something like this comes along. You say, hey, there's an opportunity here to take something that the Ford fans and the V8 fans been waiting for and put a little spin on it and improve on it, and everything just came together. We said, let's do it.
Nice. So obviously, when this thing came, the first thing I noticed was obviously this looks pretty ugly. The second thing was that this is enormously tall. I didn't expect it to be as big as it was. I figured it would be kind of closer to an LS. Packaging is just not. And then I figured this truck sump was probably going to work, but there was no way it was fitting in there, especially with the front diff. Plus, it looks pretty gross. So when you guys got one of these, I mean, was it what inspired basically making the kit? Was it just, did you need to do a swap, or it was just like, how do we make this more efficient?
It was, we knew there was going to be a market out here for this engine. So we got our first engine and tore it apart and said, well, there's going to be some issues for a lot of people that really want a small package and get this into that package.
Yeah.
And we looked at a couple different options and said, you know what, let's just take the entire oiling system off, which is very well designed and works great for F-250s, but isn't going to be good for the aftermarket. And let's see what we can design and come up with. And that led us to where we are today on our products.
Nice. So run me through kind of how this all works. This, other than being sick looking and like billet, how does this differ from that stock?
Right. So what Ford did, they mounted the oil pump down here in the sump of the pan.
Okay. Do you now? I actually got that loose. Should we pull it off so you can?
Yeah, let's
here.
take that off. Well, that bolts to the bottom of the block. Mid shaft or half shaft that runs down the length of it. The oil pump is right in there.
Okay.
So it's a variable vane oil pump in there.
Okay. And what is a variable vane?
Variable vane allows them. It's like slippers, like a power steering pump would be.
Okay.
So it's vane type oil pump, and they're able to duty cycle that and pivot those vanes and change the output of the oil pump.
Ah, I see. Oh, so you can, if you need more RPM and you need more oil.
Science.
But here, let's go into this now.
Yeah.
So I think let's start with the oiling system itself.
Yeah,
So the
that's
pump.
part of it.
So this thing looks rad, by the way. It's a really nice piece. What is this?
We came up with a G-rotor, basic G-rotor style pump, shrunk the diameter down, and the pump capacity, obviously the first priority of an oil pump is to keep up with the oil supply.
How much oil does this actually flow?
1 cubic inch per revolution. I'm going to have to go check.
Okay.
See, it's been a couple years since I designed it.
Okay.
But it flows 15 to 20% more than that oil pump.
Okay.
Which is the key for this engine.
Nice. So what kind of RPM can you turn with something like this?
This thing, we've tested it up to 8,000 RPM. Do the calculations, it's good for 10.
Okay.
Impressive.
Of course, once you finish an oil pump, you need something to bolt it to.
Yes.
The block isn't set up like a crank-mounted oil pump where it's got cavities to feed the oil pressure into the engine. What we ended up doing was designing our own front cover where we can take and mount that oil pump right to the front cover. And then with the chain drive system and our automatic tensioner there, chain drives are very forgiving with alignment, precision, aligning your G-rotor and everything.
Okay.
So we want the chain drive system, tensioner there. And of course, then once you get it mounted, running off the crank, 1-to-1 with engine speed, you've got to get the oil in and out of the block somehow. Because again, there's no provisions in this block for that. So that's where we came up with this, what we call oil pan adapter rail. And this is the windage tray that bolts into it, so it's got a windage tray incorporated. And that bolts to the bottom of the block. If we're upside down looking at it, it's like this. And what that allows us to do is the oil pump sitting up here, up at the front of the engine, and our oil pickup tube can come up there just like that. And then oil out of the pump can then go out like there. And you'll see that when we assemble, it's pretty clear. Then you got oil out of the engine to your remote filter, back in the engine. And again, paid very close attention to cross-sectional area. We're dash 12 if you're going to be running high RPM and racing. I've seen some of your videos. I'm recommending you run dash 12.
You know me so well.
So this pan here, this is one of your rear sump guys,
Yep,
right?
this is the rear sump pan.
But you make 3 pans for this, right?
Yeah, this adapter rail really allows us to bolt any shaped pan we want on there. We've got a rear sump, which we have here. We've got a front sump, which is really, if you almost turned that around, a front sump version.
Okay.
So if you're doing a project that requires that. And then for the guys that are running the Cobra kit cars where they don't have a cross member,
Yep.
we're able to take another inch of height out of this and then bring it further forward. We have a Cobra.
And so I know this is all baffled here.
Yep. We went with the full trapdoor system for oil control. You got your pickup in there, the trapdoors, and it is baffled again to help with oil control. So it's full. We've run the Optima series with Preston and Foxzilla there, and we've had this thing around Road America at full speed around the carousel and everything with no issues.
Nice. Nobody likes when you lose oil pressure. And, you know, like say if you're ripping donuts or doing stupid stuff, especially if you just got a big open pan, that oil likes to get away from that pickup.
You would know.
Man, so, okay, this is the kit. Do you guys actually make all this stuff?
Yeah,
Or-
so we partnered with a machine shop in Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
Creative Works in Des Moines, Iowa. They do all our billet CNC machine for us.
Sweet.
We work with a company in the UK, Baron Oxbury Motorsports.
Okay.
G-Rotor Design Studios. I design the pump and everything. They've got all kinds of experience with G-Rotors. They run it through their software, give it the thumbs up. They machine the housings in the G-Rotor, so they have full control over all the mating parts.
Oh, nice.
Designed them here, manufacture them in the UK.
Very cool. One thing I do want to talk about, I wanted to call this out because when I was going through the boxes, I noticed this. Everything is packaged nice and labeled, and they have all of their part numbers and stuff on it. It's good stuff. I appreciate that a lot. And so, like, this comes with everything you need. Now, I did have to purchase the ATI damper, and this is something that you were mentioning. So this is what comes stock with ATI when you get that.
So ATI has a damper, and it works with the production Ford belt line.
Yes.
And ours too. The hub that comes with it does interfere with our oil pump. So we have posted on our website a relief cut you make in the ATI hub.
Okay.
Or if you want, we can make that cut for you too.
Oh, nice. Cool. I think about the time we take and start tearing this thing down, putting the new stuff on.
So we end up changing that gear,
Okay.
and we change that.
Okay.
So to change that gear, we pull the VVT off. So what we'll do is we'll pull the spark plugs, and we'll line up all the timing marks.
Oh, those are timing marks.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So we actually.
Which I learned the hard way, because this is the first VVT engine I've worked on, is that you pull the spark plugs and you spin it around and around until the single mark here lines up with a dot on your cam.
Oh, I see that little guy.
Yep, and then the double one there winds up lining up with a mark, that the tooth that
needs
lines
some
up with
light.
that mark will land right between there.
I see. Okay. Well, let's pull some spark plugs, I guess. All right, so now we're gonna take and rotate this thing until the lines come up.
So here's the line,
Yep.
and then where's the dot? There's the dot way down here. So we've got at least 5, 6, maybe 12. Seem like 100 more revolutions to go.
You sure you don't want a big impact to just do that?
There we go. So there you can see that tooth is in between the two marks. And you don't want to be a tooth off when you put it.
Oh, okay, so this line here.
Yep, that line
So
there.
that, okay.
Between the two, and this one has to be right on the dot.
Nice. The more you know. See, you can learn something here today. Nice instructions, brother. You can actually read them and it's colored.
22 millimeter 16-point socket.
So this is super important. So this is what we need to get the VVT gear off.
Yep, that is correct.
Okay, so this is the VVT gear, and we opened it up just to make sure that it's locked out and where it's locked at, right?
That's exactly what we did. So normally, this is your cam bolt. Ford's able to push oil in there and then control your cam timing by moving the cam relative to the crank there.
Oh, nice.
So to lock it out, you simply move it to where position you want and put your lock in there.
So it's just a little steel block that sits right in there.
Yep. It's
We
going
need
to
to-
line up with your camshaft. So and your engine builder's already gone through and degreed this cam and then locked it in there for your best power situation.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're doing a different camshaft, you want to degree it in. There's different blocks and different ways of dialing that in of where you want to lock it at.
Okay. Well, up to this point, front cover's on, oil pump's on, the rail on, and we're about to mount this, the pickup tube, but gotta throw some thread locker in this little bolt because we don't want it coming off. Now, I'm used to riding a Harley, so I usually just coat the entire bolt in it. Ah, man. All right, now I'm just making a mess. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, all right. Okay, man, that looks so much better. Oil pan's on, rails on, front cover's on, oil pump is on. Moving and grooving. Next up, got the water pump and, oh nice. I was wondering about that because I was like, this definitely doesn't go right to it. So I see that there's a little bit of block off there.
The machining wise, we weren't able to get in there and make that pump fully work. Cometic gaskets.
Okay.
And those guys are the gasket gurus.
Nice, all right, good deal. Let's party. All right, oil conversion kit is done. Water pump's on, pulley's on now. It's time to put the accessory drive on. Jim.
Yes, sir.
Kicking ass here.
Yes, we are. We are rolling along. We're going to throw the alternator on next.
Cool.
Then we'll do the power steering pulley, crank damper, and AC compressor.
Rock on. Yo, by the way, Ron, look at how much different this looks now.
Wow.
Yeah, very
See,
rich.
that looks proper now.
Yeah.
Like, I like the balance between the silver and the black, but like, overall, everything looks less, like, cast.
Yes.
And it looks way more, like, proper.
Yeah, race car.
That's nice.
Dang, this thing looks good. Front runner kit's all on. It's nice and compact, keeps everything super tight against the motor. Obviously, this is way better for you guys that are running these swapped into a car. Also good for me. It's more space for everything else that's gonna be going on.
Sex stuff.
And it's crazy because it seems like it shrinks the motor up a lot. I don't know how much space do we lose?
That way you lost a good 2 inches with that mast that Ford has in the front of the crank damper.
Nice.
Where ATI has the mast located inside the damper.
Nice, but relatively so. This belt is about the same distance as
the stock location.
Okay.
It's just a little bit of illusion because everything's shrunk in and makes it look like it's way closer, but it's actually in the OE location.
Well, I mean, look, we have a power steering pump, an alternator, and an AC condenser on here, and it still somehow looks smaller, so I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, I think it's going to fit.
Hell yeah. Nah, you know what? We've been here long enough. I think it's time we enjoy ourselves. It's Friday. Megan, thank you for helping. Jim, thank you for coming out. Now we're looking like a motor. This looks real good. So stay tuned. Another beautiful day here in Compton, California. Hoonigan Project Garage. That's a tight fit. So.
Dude, first time having a turbo. Are you kidding me? It's gonna sound like a Subaru because you're gonna have the big unequal length exhaust.
No, it won't.